The biggest loser, I'll steal one of Dave's since Dave stole one of Jamey's. TreVeyon.
Okay.
Dave put TreVeyon Williams in our group chat, and it might as well be TreVeyon Williams because 3 carries, 2 receptions. We don't need to know his name right now.
It's TreVeyon Henderson, Heath, not TreVeyon Williams.
No, but you put TreVeyon Williams in the text message. That's
No,
what
I
was
didn't.
talking
I'm reading it right here. TreVeyon Henderson.
So you just edited it. It hasn't edited on my screen yet. But anyway, the problem is not the fact that TreVeyon got 5 carries. It's the same problem that RJ Harvey has, is that the guy that's the veteran ahead of them was awesome. Ramondre Stevenson had one of his most impressive games, certainly of the last 18 months, if not his career. Looked spry in the passing game, was evasive in the running game, and they had no need to turn the reins over to TreVeyon Henderson. And coming into the game, it was pretty clear on the first drive, they had no intention of turning the reins over to TreVeyon Henderson because he was the third back to come into the game. I think I saw a tweet from somebody. I don't give you credit. Sorry. It's win number 1 out of 117,234 for preseason depth charts. TreVeyon Henderson really is third on the depth chart.
He played 29% of the snaps.
That's not good.
Once again, a 3-way split between the Patriots running backs. Ramondre dominated those 65% of the snaps, 9 of 12 on third downs, 2 and 5 inside the 10. Okay, so maybe TreVeyon Henderson had 3 of 5 inside the 10. Nope. Antonio Gibson also had 2 of 5 snaps inside the 10. So I think we're in a holding pattern on TreVeyon Henderson having a breakout.
Yeah, I think you got to throw RJ Harvey in the mix too. As Heath said, I think we probably have more faith in J.K. Dobbins than Ramondre Stevenson. Stevenson facing the Dolphins was a good thing. Stevenson set a career high with more than 80 receiving yards today, but he also ran the ball effectively. But Dobbins now 2 straight games with 14 to 16 carries, 2 straight games with a rushing touchdown. And RJ Harvey, splitting with Tyler Bidet as well. And Harvey gets 6 touches. He had 7 last week. He had 6 today. He has 2 touches. I don't think you're dropping RJ. I mean, you're not in a 12-team league. You're going to wait. Are you going to drop RJ Harvey or TreVeyon Henderson in any leagues?
It hurts too much to do. So no, but I don't see how you can start them.
Josh says it was Ian, so good tweet, Ian. Thank you. If the chat could just cite my tweets from now on, that'd be fantastic. One of my believe it or nots was going to be that RJ Harvey is droppable in a 10-team league, and I don't really want to. I also want to make some sort of joke about how Tyler Bidet and RJ Flush or RJ Swirl, but I don't think that works.
Okay. Let's go to the losers. Heath's losers are a guy who may have lost his starting job, Tyrone Tracy Jr., and Ricky Pearsall. So in the second half of the game, plus overtime, actually I don't think the Giants had a run overtime, but second half and overtime, Cam Skattebo had 6 carries. Tyrone Tracy had 1. So you have Tracy as a loser and Pearsall. Go for it, Heath.
Tracy said they should run the ball more, and they did, just with somebody else. I think at the very least, it seems like Cam Skattebo is probably going to be the short yardage back.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's a better rusher than Tracy is. So Tracy might end up in that 1B role with more of the passing work, and I certainly wouldn't want to start him next week. And Ricky Pearsall is very exciting and very good, but the problem is the first 3 quarters of week 1, Juwan Jennings had more targets than him. And then they played together in week 2, and Juwan Jennings had more targets than him. And I'm not sure we get Brock Purdy back a lot sooner than we get George Kittle back. And it's hard to be the number 2 wide receiver on a team with Christian McCaffrey and Mac Jones as the quarterback.
Does anybody like Jennings better than Pearsall?
No.
I'm probably going to project him to have more targets next week. I don't know how we couldn't.
I see your point. 10 targets for Jennings, 6 for Pearsall, and last week, did you just say this? I know you said it this morning.
Last week, I don't know what the total was through the first 3 quarters, but I think it was 22% target share for Jennings and 13% for Pearsall.
I wonder how much of this playing time incentive for Jennings. I mean, he looked like he couldn't walk at one point, and then he came back in the game, scored a touchdown. How much is he just going to fight through these injuries?
Dave's losers are TreVeyon Henderson, we talked about, and Travis Hunter. who ran 27 routes compared to 42 for Brian Thomas Jr. He had 3 catches for 22 yards on 6 targets. He only has 55 yards on 14 targets through 2 games. So Travis Hunter is your second loser after TreVeyon Henderson.
Yeah, I think it's time to put him on the bench, kind of give him the same treatment that we're talking about for RJ Harvey and TreVeyon Henderson. And you just got to wait it out a little bit. I like that he's involved in the offense, but Jacksonville's got a bunch of problems. Brian Thomas Jr. isn't making huge plays. Trevor Lawrence is inconsistent. He did a lot of good things today. He had a couple of great throws, but he also had a couple of terrible throws. And I think Hunter's kind of just not being used like a typical wide receiver. He's just getting a lot of short throws right now. His longest catch on the year, 2 games, 14 targets, is 10 yards.
Yikes.
So
Is he okay?
Change a little bit. I can't start him.
I didn't see any injury report, but he was definitely limping and kind of talking to somebody.
I saw
on the
that
sideline
in the second half. Someone said that it might have been a cramp.
Oh, okay.
But then he was playing defense at the end, so
Right.
or trying
He
to. At
was.
least. I think the
Went after him.
again, it's hard to play the what if game, but 2 of Lawrence's interceptions so far on the season would be touchdowns for Travis Hunter. The one last week against the Panthers where J.C. Horn intercepted it, would have been a long touchdown, and then the one in the end zone this week was a target for Travis Hunter as well. So he's clearly been disappointing, and I don't think anybody can start him. Certainly not next week against the Texans. But I do think that there's some signs of life. And to Dave's point, Brian Thomas Jr., Liam Cohen was asked about him alligator arming that one play where Lawrence had the interception, and Cohen basically said, I need to go back and look at that and see exactly what happened. So there's some disconnect right now between the team and Brian Thomas, and it does not look good. So he's looking like a potential bust right now. Hopefully things turn around for him because there's so much talent potential there. But it's 1 week was okay, maybe just bad start. It's now 2 bad games in a row for Thomas, and you got to be a little concerned because of what the Trevor Lawrence Thomas connection wasn't great last year and not great so far this year.
And Houston, San Francisco, Kansas City coming up.
Yeah, San Francisco doesn't worry me as much. We'll see about Kansas City. Next week's going to be awful.
Awful. Well, I'm pretty sure he destroyed the Texans last year, if I recall.
But he was maybe with a better quarterback. I don't know.
Okay, so Brian Thomas. So all right, he's one of Jamey's losers. I think we just covered it there. But if I were going to ask you for, all right, how about you wouldn't start? You wouldn't rather have him than Jamar Chase, would you? Given the Burrow injury,
Thomas?
Right? Yeah,
Thomas or Jamar Chase?
Well,
I might rather have T. Higgins.
I would not rather have T. Higgins with the Chase.
Mean, you can go to Odunze. Like that's the level where Brian Thomas is.
On.
No, I'm not saying I would do it, but that's the level where through 2 weeks, who's been better?
No, he's been bad. I understand, but this is where you buy low if you believe in it.
I agree with you, but I don't think you're putting Brian Thomas and Jamar Chase in the same category.
First name that came to my mind, Brian Thomas Jr. or Tyreek.
AJ Brown.
Oh yeah, AJ Brown. Who are you more worried about?
Thomas.
I'm more worried about Brown.
I'm more worried about Thomas than Brown.
Would you try to turn Tyreek Hill into Brian Thomas Jr.?
No.
I would. I still think all those things we were concerned about with Tyreek Hill are still there.
Sure.
He had 100 yards today. That was awesome. Boy, they throw to Achane so much, though. It's insane.
Achane's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Jamey's other loser was Breece Hall. 10 carries, 29 yards, 2 catches for 9 yards in a loss to the Bills. Everything was bad for the Jets today, including Breece Hall. What do you think about him going forward at Tampa Bay next week?
If Tampa Bay's run defense comes out of this game looking good and it's Tyrod Taylor, I'd be a little concerned about Breece Hall. I mean, the thought for me coming in the season was the Jets were going to be bad. And, how much of this is, again, the Steelers are just bad. And the Jets just took advantage of a bad Steelers defense last week. Like, I don't think the Jets are going to be this bad every week, but, they ran into a good team and they struggled.
All right. So we're on alert here with Breece Hall maybe for next week.